Welcome back to another session podcast of this channel. And if you still don't know me, I am Alondra and I am doing this kind of videos, actually podcast type, where I talk about my unprofessional advice based and deeply rooted from my own experiences and also with a kind of s- the things that I learned from my previous course, my current course, which is psychology. And so we're going to talk about just things about life, being human, about mental health, psychology, neuroscience, or with a twist of philosophy. So yeah, what we have here today is the topic which I love to talk about with you all guys. I think I talk about this in the past videos, but I don't actually effectively communicate that or express that in here. The thing that I wanted to talk about is kindness without boundaries is just self-destruction. So this title talks about like everything, especially the things that correlates with the title, especially people pleasing. If you're a pleaser, if you're planning or wanting to change from people pleaser to actually reclaiming your energy and putting boundaries on yourself so that you can go on a point where you're going to experience empathy burnout and sort of things. So yeah, we're going to talk about that and I love talking about it. So I think mostly in my part there is so much people most of people are experiencing people pleasing and don't know how to actually change themselves to stay away from people who take advantage of them. And yeah, that's the other consequences of you being a people pleaser. But in this podcast video, I wanted to talk about my own experiences and how I cope with the fact that I'm deeply aware that I am a people pleaser from the past and how I actually changed that and to actually reclaim my energy and to just add a little bit of unprofessional advices that actually works on myself. I still know that this is the things and advices and wisdom that actually is still working on me in my day-to-day basis. And yeah, I would love to actually share that with y'all guys. And yeah, I hope you all end up in the end of the video so we can have, a little understanding about where it is deeply rooted, how to change it, how to be so aware of it, and how to cope with it. So maybe you do realize that you are a people pleaser or you have the tendency to be a people pleaser. Just like me, I experienced that in the past weeks. I became self aware on that fact. And it's just why do I became aware that I'm still a people pleaser, that I still have the tendency to be a people pleaser, even though I believe that in some way or some areas of people pleasing, there are things that I stop doing. Like I can say no now or any sorts of thing. So yeah, I have a tendency to people please. And maybe you have the tendency to people please too. And I realized that when every time that I open my social media, especially Instagram, it just there is a bunch of people that wanted to befriend me, but they know, or maybe some of them don't know that I have the tendency to isolate myself, not in a negatively way, but to just recharge myself. And maybe you are also the type of person that you love to recharge yourself, like taking up alone time with yourself to recharge your mental health and emotional well being. So, yeah, I have that kind of way for myself. And maybe you are too. And it's just became overwhelming to me the fact that there is a bunch of people on Instagram that wanted to talk to me. And like also the type of persons or people that is asking me that why I don't reply that often. And I take it. I feel bad. I feel bad. I take it as a that response. I take it as a like I feel like it became a responsibility to me if someone like asked me that sort of question. Like, they don't see your time as a precious gift, but in other way they saw it as a responsibility. But I know my friends. I have this sets of friends, group of friends that they value my time. They value this kind of mood that I put to myself, that I isolate myself, not in a negative way, but to just recharge myself. So yeah, that's that kind of people just don't know me, and I don't think they are my friends, and it became so overwhelming to me. And it's just these kind of people are just these kind of people are the type of people who just wanted to talk to me every time that they have a problem or things to rant about me. So maybe you are experiencing this type of dilemma, these circumstances, and you don't know what to do. My number one advice here in this kind of situation, how I cope with this situation is that I end the feeling of guilty. The guilty that attached to that because I know myself that I love talking to people, especially when I know that I'm going to help them in some way, and especially in emotional or mental, in the mental being. But I do realize at the same time that over the course of my years, when I continue doing that to people, I neglect myself. If you are always available to people and you are always there for them, especially, I mean, like, I don't intend this video for my friends because they respect my time, my value. They just know me, but I'm referring to kind of people who are see you as someone to vent, someone to rant, without actually reciprocating the energy that you're giving. So basically, it is just being one sided. Like they are just the one who are venting and ranting, and they're just talking to you when they just have a problem to talk about, as if you were a unpaid therapist. And then over the course of my years, I realized that it is becoming harmful to me emotionally, mentally, and physically, leading me to chronic burnout and empathy burnout, like to the point that I was like, I am neglecting myself. I'm always available, even though I don't have the capacity or interest or capacity to listen anymore. Even though I myself have the problems and worries to solve. And then they are there. They are going to still ask you, why you don't reply often, as if it's your responsibility, you know? And I don't know if you all are still watching this and you're thinking and percepting me as a negative person, but that is how I cope with the situation, the certain dilemma. That is how I cope with that. That is how I put boundaries on my mental well-being and emotional well-being. And if you're still experiencing that, that's how I just cope with that. But I know it's not that easy. It's easy if you just say it, but like it's not easy to actually apply it. But practice is the key. Like practicing yourself to put boundaries. Like don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty putting boundaries on people. Don't feel guilty putting yourself first, recharging yourself first before helping others. I mean, for me, I believe that it is just beneficial for you and for the both sides, if there is a reciprocation that is going on in that certain friendship, platonic friendship, or whatever. But if it's just one sided, it's gonna cause you harm. And I just can't deny it. I just can't comprehend that. And certain friendships, whatever you're building, like especially friendships, platonic friendships, or whatever romantic relationship, you needed a reciprocation. You need, we need that both sides are benefiting to each other. Both sides are feel seen, both sides are feel heard, and that's called connection and companionship. Not just some people who are going to just talk to you because they have a problem, as if they're paying you as a therapist. Like, girl, I'm not a unpaid therapist here. I'm retired. And yeah, I mean, that's why I came to the realization that I'm so tired on talking to people, on always being there to people to help them with their problems and worries while neglecting myself first, because it's just so harmful to me. And in the past, I believe that people pleasing is kindness, like putting yourself, I I mean, like neglecting yourself and putting other people first is a kind of kindness, but it is not. It is definitely a sign of people pleasing. So this video is just about kindness without boundaries is just self destruction. Because it is indeed harmful for you. I wanted also to talk about the complicated situation or complicated relationship with your saying no to people. I know there are a lot of people, especially me sometimes, that have this tendency that they are complicated or have this hard time saying no to people because they are always a say yes man. But actually, it's not a bad thing. But also, I'm saying is that it is a good thing to be aware that you are always just saying yes and you're neglecting yourself and not putting yourself first. Or maybe you're actually not respecting yourself in a way when you always do that. And it's hard to say no sometimes, especially when you know that it is deeply rooted from your self worth, your fear of abandonment or rejection. And I wanted to talk about that kind of thing or dilemma. Why, if you have this fear of abandonment or rejection, you tend to people please, or maybe you're a people pleaser and you're aware of that. If you have this fear of abandonment and rejection, obviously you fear getting rejected, or you have this trauma in the past that when you don't show up for a particular person, especially in a friendship, these people end terms with you or actually cut you off. And I think it is actually also connected with your self worth, because it is not just fear of abandonment or rejection. It's just you are building this kind of thought or belief system in your mind that if you are if you are useful to people or kind to people, it is actually based on your self worth and how they are going to treat you as a person or even a friend. But what if you stop showing up or you fail to show up? Then eventually you're nothing to them. So you're going to also, I wanted to talk about that if you started saying no to people, you're also filtering them out. And yeah, it's a beneficial thing to me. What's the word? It also beneficial for me and crazy work for me for the reason that it filter out my friend group, the specific relationship in my life where I just know that you are old, that I just know that you are my real friend or genuine friend when you actually see me as a human with emotions, with thinking, with values and morals, with self respect. I believe that you are my genuine friend when you also respect my boundaries, my space, my time, and whatever. That you, that we are not just friends because I have this tendency or potential that I can do whatever that you wanted from me. And it's basically just one sided, you know? So, I mean, if you learn to say no, you filter out your friends or the people that wanted to, s- clo- and also the people that wanted to be close to you. You filter them out. You regain your self respect and you also being aware and eventually being aware of who you're going to be close with, who you are real friends with. And that's just it's so effective and like there's so many hard proof on that in my life. And it's just how I go on with my life. And you know, I don't want to make this video podcast that's saying that, oh, just say no, it's so easy. I'm not that kind of person. I wanted you to realize that yes, it's not easy. It's hard because I realized that in the past that it's hard, but just take a small step at a time. Take a baby steps at a time. Practice makes perfect, and yeah, don't be hard on yourself if you still have this tendency to people please. If you still have this tendency to say yes even though you don't feel like it, even if you're just saying yes out of guilt, out of fear, out of you having or not having this self-respect for yourself, or just you're just so confused. And eventually you're just going to figure that out. There's no one who's going to help you to figure that out, and also find ways to actually have the original coping mechanism that you can have or you feel comfortable with saying no. But yeah, this is just my advice in that kind of dilemma. And what about yeah? Also, I wanted to say that you need to repeat this kind of mantra. So this mantra, just another term of just quotations or wisdoms and whatever fields of beliefs. But I am always repeating this mantra. Especially that I am still admitting to myself that I still have this tendency to people please. And sometimes I'm still a yes man person. I'm always repeating this mantra where my worth is not attached on how useful I am to people. My worth is not attached on that. And I know it's hard, especially when you think that saying no to people actually hurt people. Maybe you're that kind of person. You don't want to hurt people, especially if you're an empathic person, or you don't want to disappoint people, hurt people. But I mean, like I'm saying is that it's okay. It's okay. It takes practice. It's inevitable. It's inevitable because saying no requires you to because saying because saying no requires you to disappoint people, to hurt people in a way, not actually directed on it, but just think about your well being. Because this time, when you're saying no, you're actually putting yourself first. It's inevitable. You're going to be guilty about it. You're going to hurt people, especially if that kind of people don't actually understand your boundaries or actually don't respect your boundaries and your time and your space or whatever that you can do in that sort of friendship or relationship. So yeah, it's there's just so many benefits on feel there's just so many benefits on saying no. Number one is you filter out people that needs to stay out of your life, and you're going to realize who's your genuine friends or whatever. And number two, it's inevitable. You're going to feel guilty about it. You're going to hurt people in a way, hurt people's emotions and feelings, but actually regaining your self worth and energy, which is so beautiful. and beneficial for your own well-being, for you to also prevent chronic burnout and empathy burnout like I experienced in the past. And yeah, when you are grasping in this topic, in this kind of thing, in this dilemma, you are also knowing yourself fully. Like, why do you feel this way? Why you're such a yes man person? Why you can't say no? Or why you're so kind? Or why you see kindness as a lack of boundaries? And why you don't see it as a self distraction? That you don't realize that people pleasing and being kind to people without boundaries is actually harming yourself. It's actually neglecting yourself in many ways. I'm also a kind of person in the past where the fact that I love helping people, I don't put boundaries to the point that I empathy burnout and chronic burnout, which is not actually beneficial. So I don't want you all to be like that kind of person or to experience that before anything else. I mean, like, you can change before life actually force you to change. You just can prevent any sort of circumstances before life actually burst out this kind of lessons into your face and changing becomes painful as fuck. And yeah, that's just my dilemma and certain unprofessional advice tonight. Yeah, tonight. And yeah, I hope you all are like absorb lessons from my own experiences, and I hope it resonates with you in a kind of way. And yeah, if you all wanted to subscribe, I upload. I usually upload 2 times a week. I'm planning to be consistent in that matter to upload 2 times a week because I'm currently college student, so things are busy, and yeah, I don't want to neglect my YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you guys for all switching. I hope you are all watched until the end. And also, I wanted to if and also feel free to drop any questions or your certain dilemma or worries so that we can talk about that in the next episodes. I'm really interested in that. Whatever is that. Yeah. I reply to comments mostly and I read all of them. Whatever it is, I'm interested